until a doctor says, well, we need to sort this out. And then say,
I just love the way that you pitch that then. Until the doctor looks down there and goes, well, we're going to have to sort this out.
yeah.
It's all in the delivery.
I'll give you a quote, love, but it's a big job. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a 30-something with a 4-year-old stepdaughter and a pregnant fiancé.
And I'm Daniel. I'm a 30-something and I've had kids for a while, ranging from toddlers to teens.
Welcome back to another episode of Ramblings of Dad Men. I'm Dan, and once again, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Matthew. How are you, Matt?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, great. One take.
One take. One take minus two takes. That'll do. And many happy returns for your birthday last week.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel being closer to 40 than to 30 now?
I mean, technically, if we were going to do the mathematical formula, you still round down to 35. I'm living on that. Yeah, no, it does scare me. I am thinking forward about the big 40 and planning that. That's still, like, in my head, a million miles away. But me and Beck are both. So she's exactly 6 months to the day younger than me. So
older than you.
Yep. Podmin, corrected. I love that. She is 6 months to the day older than me. Well done. Yeah, so we've already started forward planning a little bit of we're both going to be 40 in the same year. We'll do something special. Whether that's like going on safari or something big and fancy just to mark the ceremony of both of us hitting near retirement. Sorry for anyone who's over 40. I don't mean that is really old. I just don't feel it yet.
Yeah, I mean, our respective partners joke that we regress to 16 and 17-year-olds when we're right near each other anyways. So yeah. I do definitely not feel pushing 40.
I mean, who doesn't love a good game at tick?
Exactly, right? Exactly. So yeah, have you been up to much this week?
Other than the birthday celebrations, not too much. Me and Beck sort of regressed to pre-kid territory. On Thursday, we got what's been discussed for a long time. We both got a meal out and we went watching James Bond.
Of course, yeah. How was that?
I loved it. I thought it was an amazing film as a standalone film. Beck cried, and there was one bit where I almost cried. I'm not going to give too much away because I know there's probably a lot of people that's still living under rocks and not watched it. It's not a pure Bond film. If you've not watched it, don't go into this expecting a Bond film. Think of this as sort of almost a bit like a spin-off of a Bond. But yeah, no, I loved it. Everyone else who I've spoken to about it that has seen it has just said that they hate it. Can't see why. I thought it had everything. It's got Daniel Craig, it's got the women, it's got cars, it's got action, it's got a bad guy. Rami Malek is amazing in it. Yeah, it was just really good. I loved it. I would go and watch it again.
I haven't seen it. We'll plan on watching it at some point. Like I say, a couple of weeks ago, some idiot on YouTube gave the whole ending away to me. So not that it's put me off, I'd still go watching it. It's just that there's more things that I would rather do at the minute. Yeah. But I will go watch it at some point. I
mean, to be fair, we've not been to the cinema together, I'd probably say, since we watched a child film with Georgia.
The last time me and Becky went to the cinema, we watched, can't remember, but it was something childlike. Cave People, a cartoon cave people film, and Ryan Reynolds was in it, and Nicolas Cage. It was quite a good film, but that's the last time. That was like a 1 o'clock showing in the middle of the afternoon with only us and Becky's sister there. So
yeah, but I've not been to the cinema for ages. Novel almost, it was good. It was fun. I am planning on going again in a couple of months when Matrix comes out. That's
a solid, isn't it?
Definitely go and watching that there.
This is going back a few years, but when we went to watch Transformers at midnight with a couple of beers.
Yeah.
That was a bit of that was like a special times, weren't they? I do love like a midnight showing of the first one.
But that was like, right, it's the world premiere. You're the first people to ever see this film. Great. And you don't think that you're going to get out at like 3 o'clock in the morning after a couple of beers, and you've got to go to work the next day because it's like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
You don't plan it out properly, but it's good.
It was fun.
That said, the one at Christmas is going to be releasing 22nd of December, I think it is. So I'm probably going to be off or not far off being off for work at that point. So it'll be fine.
By the 22nd, with any luck, I will have a baby. I just don't know whether she'll be 1 week old or who knows.
Might have a twin.
They might have a twin. Yeah.
But you're now embracing that.
Do you know, funny story, Becky is like in a pregnancy group on Facebook, and she has like a really good kind of like venting circle, I guess, and everyone can talk about their own problems. Something that I guess a kind of her little version of this, really. And she was talking to someone yesterday who went into, so she was a week further ahead than Becky. And anyway, long story cut short, she gave birth to the baby yesterday. Turned out it was a boy. after scans and scans and scans and saying this is definitely a girl, a boy came out. And they were like, oh, well, that's fine, but they just weren't prepped for it.
No, so that does happen more than you think. From what I remember, the 4D scanned woman saying to us that it's easier for them to say with almost 100% accuracy that this is a boy because the little puppa's sticking out than if it's a girl. Because if it's a girl in that general area, you just can't see anything. But it could just be that the boy hasn't really developed anything yet.
Wow.
So if they say it's a girl, there's still an element of chance. Whereas if they outright confirm, it's definitely a boy, it's either a boy or it's coming out with both bits.
Yeah, it's a boy that hasn't developed properly.
Yeah.
Just like his dad.
Yeah.
How are we doing on Netflix watch? Have you finished You?
We really need to find some time this week. So I'm off for the next couple of days. So hopefully we're going to churn through a few episodes. We've just not got to it because obviously it was my birthday last week and then we were out. And there's just a few other things that were going on through the week. So I think we're going to try and crack through a few of them. I think we're not even halfway through yet. And from everything that I've heard, it does get good. But I have seen it announced that they're going to be doing a 4th series.
They are going to do a 4th series. And the 4th series is definitely going to take a turn.
This is at this point where you go, I don't think it would spoil anything for you. But I don't know how they're going to do a 4th series from jail.
Yeah. Well, here's a recommendation for you. So we watched the first series of this, and the second series just came out over the weekend, and we're only one episode in. But have you ever watched Lock and Key on Netflix?
Can't say that I have.
Give that a go. You might like it. It's a little bit Harry Potter, teenage Stranger Things kind of esque, but it's quite good. It's about this family that go into this house, and they're called the Locks, and they found out that the house is kind of haunted, and you find these keys, and each key has like a special power. It's kind of like a fantasy kind of program. It's quite good. The first series is brilliant, and we're just watching the second series now. So
okay.
We've also feel like we've completed Netflix these past days. So we started watching Vikings on Amazon. I don't know.
It's like Game of Thrones without the dragons and shit.
Yeah, well, we definitely had that vibe, and we've only watched a couple of episodes, but it was definitely enough to keep us like hooked. And obviously, we've got a few seasons to run through that, but we're definitely gonna hit the road with that one as well.
Yeah, it wasn't until the start of series 5 that I started watching it, and at that point, I watched it live week to week. So these were coming out on a Thursday on Amazon. I think it was Wednesday night at midnight they'd be launched. And I found myself all the way through the 5th, 6th series, waiting up till midnight. And I'd watch it there and then because I just needed to know what would happen. I'll not spoil it. Around the end of the 4th series, some stuff happens that may make you not want to continue, but then it does build up again. And then through the 6th series, part 1 and part 2, it gets good again. I love all the character development in it. Like Ragnar Lothbrok he's ace. I could talk for hours about it. We could do an entire. Let's start a new podcast series just on Vikings.
Maybe we should. We're a lot better on Netflix and Vikings than we are on actual parenting.
There's not many things that you could sit down, especially series like that. Lost's one of them, where I could just sit down and happily watch that all the way through again. Dexter's one. Vikings, I could definitely start from day one and watch it all the way through again.
We're still in the first season, so I think it started in 2013, isn't it? So I think a long time has got enough where you can talk about spoilers. So maybe I'll give you a bit of an update every week and to see where I'm on.
Yeah. Do it.
I'll talk about there. Yeah. Because we're struggling with things to watch, Becky Startley agreed to watching some wrestling with me as well. So we had a Saturday morning watching a little bit of AEW because it's on ITV and it's just easier to watch than the other big one.
I don't mean to sound like a stalker, but I actually did see that she'd posted something on her Instagram.
Oh, did she?
A picture, and you were sat there in your little wrestling mask and just a pair of Speedos, and she had a bowl of cereal. She was like, what the fuck have I agreed to?
It was on for about 15 minutes, and then she was hooked, and then she was like, who's that dishy guy there? And I'm like, do you know what? It's all fine, wrestlers are, they work hard on the bodies and something, but of all the people that she picked 50-year-old Chris Jericho.
I mean, out of all the people that you look similar to if you had long hair, he would probably be the one. Yeah. So at least she's fighting in the same ballpark, and she didn't pick something like Goldberg, or, a guy who looks nothing like you.
Right. This is why I will never be afraid of our age gap and me getting older and older, because I'm only going to get more attracted to her. I'm only going to get more attractive. Yeah. She's only going to find me more attractive the more older I get.
I mean, technically, she would want you to say that first bit anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sticking on the theme of Netflix, I mean, there are a few other things that on there that I do want to watch. Like, I want to watch Peaky Blinders. I know that's not just Netflix, it's a BBC thing, but it is on Netflix. I want to watch that because, I think that could be good. I want to watch Money Heist. That's something else that it's a little bit like Squid Game, but whereas Squid Game's got an actual English dub, Money Heist is just, I think it's dubbed, but badly, and there's subtitles throughout, and that's in Spanish, I believe.
Okay.
So I do want to watch that. There's 5 series of that. Bex has just finished Maid.
So Becky is watching that as well. So obviously we're both working from home at the minute. She will tend to work in the living room and I'll work somewhere else. But she'll tend to watch Maid on a dinner break or something in the background, and she's obsessed with that at the minute.
Mm-hmm. She's finished it, but every time I used to walk in and she's watching it, she's just in tears. I don't think it's my thing, but she genuinely has enjoyed that.
Cool.
Well, that concludes Netflix recommendations. Let's just give it a little interlude. Netflix recommendations of the week.
Yeah, we definitely need a little jingle for that. Okay, so we are week 34 of the pregnancy. The baby is the size of a cantaloupe melon and weighing just over 5 pounds now. So we are really, really on the home straight.
I don't know what a cantaloupe melon looks like.
And I haven't a clue, to be honest. Oh. So I thought it was a normal honeydew melon, the big yellow ones. And I was very quickly reminded that that's not until 36 weeks, Matthew. It's a cantaloupe melon.
Oh, wow.
So
I had a really good idea earlier on, which maybe we need Becky's buy-in to this, but hear me out. This is going to screw you over. So obviously each week you've been updating us on things that the baby is the size of. And obviously this week you're saying cantaloupe melon. Why don't you, for an entire day, buy one of those and strap it to your stomach?
I'm happy to do it. You like a challenge as well.
I've done my bit. I'm just giving advice. Where have I got to go? I actually leave the house as well. I've got to go and do school runs.
Me too.
Yeah, but at least you can say, oh yeah, my missus, she's ever pregnant, and I'm just doing something just to feel her pain for the day. What's my excuse on a playground talking to the other parents? I've got this podcast.
Exactly. And then it's all marketing. It's like, follow us. It's about parenting. Before you know it, people will be interested. I will do it. I will do it on Friday.
Why are you picking the date? No, I'm gonna So we'll take this offline. I'm gonna speak to Becky and see what day she thinks you should do it. You can't pick the date because you're gonna pick the day that's most convenient for you.
You pick a day.
No, I'm gonna speak to Becky and I'm gonna get her to pick the most inconvenient day for you to do it. A day where you've got to go out loads of places.
Okay. I will let you know. I will do it one day this week or whenever. I will do it in line with the next episode. We'll put it onto social media. I don't mind, seeing what it's like for a day. Okay? Is that a deal?
I mean, that's a deal from your perspective.
We bought one of those like straps the other week, and the only way I could describe it is like a massive scarf, and you tie it around your body in such a way where you can have the baby like strapped to your chest. I can't remember.
It's like a cradle type thing.
Kind of, yeah. So we bought one of them, and I tried that on last week. That was quite interesting. You're getting used to that, I imagine. I had to get Becky to literally
climb in.
Well, I would love Becky to climb right in there, to be honest. You'll never get me complaining about that.
Yeah, love getting me a pouch.
And then I'll reciprocate the favour.
Hey, you did that. You did that 34 weeks ago. Let's just calm down.
So, Podman, I think we've done quite well this week, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm going to start chalking these up because this week, as far as I'm concerned, we have 0 Podman.
I think so, yeah.
It might have something to do with the fact that last week we didn't actually spout any facts and just chatted absolute bollocks.
I mean, it kind of brings us on to a good point, I guess. So from Becky said that she kind of liked that.
So at this point, if you are listening, thank you, genuinely. It means that all of the stuff that me and Matt do in the background is actually working and is worthwhile. So it is genuinely appreciated wherever you are. And I'm breaking down the fourth wall. I'm talking to you. We want to know, do you prefer the topical content, the kind of stuff where I put Matt on the spot and give him a glossary of pregnancy terms and say, give me a definition to this? Or do you prefer the episodes where me and Matt just chat absolute shite?
With a little bit of advice embedded in there. The whole point of this is that, we're doing this podcast so people can get something out of that, whether that is learning a little bit or just trying to ease someone else's anxieties, maybe. So we just kind of like to understand what kind of content you'd like, really. As we do this with a couple of beers on a Sunday evening, we really enjoy it, but obviously
we want to know that you're enjoying it too.
Exactly. Yeah. Well
so
said.
To be fair, if you're still listening at this point, I'm hoping you're either just intrigued as to what we're saying each week, or you actually do enjoy it.
Absolutely. And again, just to follow this, we'll just like to say a massive congratulations to @SandraPort1983, who won our brownie competition last week. As this goes out, the brownies would have already been delivered to you. They would have already been sent. I hope you enjoy them. They are amazing brownies.
I think at this point as well, it is worth mentioning that we got a lot of comments, a lot of entries, and we don't want to disappoint anybody at this point. So we've discussed and agreed that once we hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, that we'll probably run something similar, another giveaway. Maybe we do brownies again, whatever Becky is craving.
Although by the time we hit 1,000 followers, she might be craving like morphine or epidural.
Medical exemptions may apply to the giveaway. We can't be giving away morphine to everybody.
Exactly. It's like sweet treats only. I tell you what it is at the minute. It's Reese's peanut butter cups or like
They are ace. They are. I actually got some for my birthday.
Really?
Yeah, I love peanut butter.
So not last Christmas, the Christmas before, my sister bulk ordered me about a pallet worth of Reese's Pieces. So I had them like for a year.
A fucking pallet?
Well, not like she bulk ordered them off Amazon. I think I ended up getting like 200 or something like that, like 200 single ones.
I mean, that's not a pallet. Come on.
It's a pallet for me. Like it's a lot. It was definitely bulk.
I was like moderately impressed then. I thought that she'd gone to like a Tesco or an Asda or one of the other big superstores and gone, right, here's my card, load that pallet into my car.
Maybe she's not good enough, sister. Jess, if you're listening, you've got things to
it. Next time you order him anything, order him a pallet of them. He's going to need nappies soon. So if a pallet of nappies doesn't turn up within the next 6 months, you've let us down.
We've got a drawer full of nappies at the minute, and it's just not going to be enough, is it?
Mate, that'll last you a week.
Yeah, I thought so.
We thought we had loads of baby grows and baby vests and nappies and all that shit. The washing machine was on every day. Like, babies will just go through clothes like there's no tomorrow. Talking 3, 4, 5 outfits a day where they'll just shit on it. They'll throw up on it. That's all babies do. They feed, they sleep, and they shit.
What a life.
And to be fair, that is pretty much all me and you do.
Yeah. A really good point, and something to really mention that we've been really, really lucky. We've had 4 sets of friends that have given us so much stuff. I think we've bought one set of clothes. We've barely bought any clothes. We've been really lucky that we've had a lot of stuff given to us. We've had a few friends that have had kids relatively close to us, like 6 months, 7 months old. So we are prepared, but maybe we've got so much clothes. I don't think I'm quite ready to comprehend how quickly that will.
You'll go through them.
Yes. And not just because they get stained and spoiled and stuff like that, but growing as well. I mean, we've probably got like 2 boxes of 3 to 6 months clothes just stored under our bed at the minute because, they're going to use them at some point, but it's just going to be a bit.
When we were talking about the baby bag, I mentioned that you should pack a newborn size, but also pack like 0 to 3 months. There's a couple of different sizes very early on. So newborn's one of them, and that's for small babies. And then they've got a 0 to 3 months. Genuinely, just pack a couple of each. We never got to use the newborn stuff on Georgia just because she was so tall when she was first born.
Wow, so really?
We'd bought the newborn things, but we just never got to use them. So she went straight into 0 to 3 months.
Funny you should mention that because on the last scan, the woman was like, hasn't this baby got really, really long legs? She's got massive legs. I'm like, Daniel, have you been anywhere near Becky? I was like, because this isn't my child. Yeah, but yeah, she was like saying, "Oh, she's got massive, massive legs." I'm like, okay, that clearly doesn't come from me, does she?
Yeah. So you may find you need some of the bigger stuff sooner than you think if she has got long legs. You might find that you're into those 3 to 6 months when baby's a month and a half, 2 months old. Things just don't fit. And I always found that wherever you buy things from as well, you can go and buy the same age size or same size clothes from 2 different shops, and they're not necessarily the same.
It's so fucking annoying that, do you not think? Because we get that as a normal adult. Like, I can go into one store and get a small, I don't know, in another store it'll be a large. I know that. But like for babies, surely there must be like a standard size. Is that not the case?
No, we found that so some shops 0 to 3 months fitted until Georgia was like 4 months, and from other shops 0 to 3 months only fitted until she was just over a month old. And maybe it's just when they get washed they shrink, and certain manufacturers or whatever shrink faster. I don't know.
Okay, so we have been carrying on with the hypnobirthing this week. Yesterday we powered through a few episodes. And again, the whole point of this hypnobirthing is to try and put control in the woman that's giving the birth and trying to have a calming experience and do everything she can to try and be in control and how her body should be under as less distress as it can be. But do you want to hear one of the topics today or one of the content videos? Do you want to hear what the title was?
Sure, go on.
Tearing. It isn't as bad as you think.
Wow, that's a bloke written that.
I was like, what?
That's savage.
Yeah, it was not a bloke. It was a woman. Apparently she's had 3 kids. Apparently she's hypnobirthed all the way through it and not done drugs, not took any medication and been fully controlled. But her words were, tearing isn't as bad as you think.
So the doctors did say something similar. So obviously with the episiotomy, that's a cut. And a tear, it's a natural to rip. And Beck had to have an episiotomy, and she was questioning why it hurts and how long it would take. It was either the doctors or the midwives afterwards, when they were stitching her up, said that if you'd have ripped naturally or if you'd have teared naturally, it would have healed faster and wouldn't have hurt as much. So if you think of it as like ripping a piece of paper, and when you rip it, it's like jagged edges a little bit, and that is really useful for healing wounds. So it's got something to bond to. Whereas with a cut, so if you have to be cut with like an episiotomy, it is a pure, smooth piece of skin. It's the same as like cutting a piece of paper with a pair of scissors. It's a straight line. And that's a lot harder for that to sort of coagulate, to gel together and heal.
Yeah.
So I sort of get where they're going with the tearing isn't as bad as you think. Maybe that should have been caveated a little bit, that tearing's probably better than an episiotomy.
Yeah, I think she was more trying to play down the actual pain side of it, is that because you're in the heat of the moment, you're not going to feel it so much.
Yeah.
And she also said that actually, because of the self-cleaning kind of properties of down there anyway, it's quite a short amount of time it is for it to heal as well.
Yeah.
And she also mentioned that you probably won't feel any tearing until a doctor says, well, we need to sort this out. And then
I just love the way that you pitch that then. Until a doctor looks down there and goes, well, we're going to have to sort this out.
Yeah.
It's all in the delivery.
I'll give you a quote, love, but it's a big job. I'll need to get some men in.
I just imagine Dr. Lanugo doing a linea negra lunge going, oh, this one's going to fucking sting. Right. Okay. Get the tape measure.
Should have done your lunges. I'm going to have to do a colostrum check. I'm really sorry.
I mean, that's fine, but why are you playing with my tits?
Anyway, so there are a few questions I want to ask this week. But first, I want to settle an argument. So Becky and I have had an argument this week. Ooh. And I want your opinion on it. We've not had an argument. We've had a...
Oh, no, you said it live now. You famously now had your first argument. That's fine. It's all done.
So you're up at 5:45, on your phone for a couple of hours. You struggling for things to do, but you don't get out of bed. But then you fall about asleep. So what time do you get up?
I mean, I would say I've got up at 5:45.
Okay. So the fact that you didn't get out of bed and the fact that you may have had another little nap and you got up at 5:45 and then you went back to sleep a couple of hours later.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you've had a nap is sort of irrelevant. You know, like, say if you've got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but then you don't have that nap until 4 in the afternoon, that doesn't change. Oh, I've only got up at 4:30 today.
Hang on. I think we might have a special guest.
No, I want to comment on this because this is pissing me off, right? Because as well, I told you would bullshit and extend how this is. So yeah, okay, today you did wake up at 5:45. That's fine, I'll accept that. But this argument did not start today. This started last week when every single night, bear in mind, I am awake for like 3 hours during the night, but I don't say, oh, I've been up since 1 a.m. because I got back to sleep at 4 for 3 hours. Whereas Matthew thinks if he's been up for an hour in the night at 2 o'clock, he then goes, oh, I've been up since 2 o'clock, even though it's slept in till late in the morning. That is not correct.
So thank you for the special guest, Becky, today.
I can just hear you talking about it and it's driving me mad. You are wrong. I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting that Dan is agreeing with you either.
Right, I was agreeing with his version, okay? So that his version is you get up at 5:45 and then you go and have 15 minutes or something like that and then get up again. However, if you get up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, arse about on your phone for a couple of hours and then you go back to sleep for some solid sleep for a good couple of hours, then you don't say you've got up at 2 o'clock.
That's
I've been awake in the night.
I'm getting up at like 5 o'clock.
No.
Being up for a couple of hours.
Okay, the other day the example was that you woke up at 3:30 and you were awake till 5, but then you slept in till 9:15 and only got up at 5:15 to work, and then you were telling me that you've been up since 5 o'clock when I get up at 6:30 with Florence. And it's going to piss me off when this baby comes and Matt goes, oh, I've been up with the baby since midnight, when he's not. Anyway, I'm going now and I'm eating my Milky Way upstairs, but you're wrong.
Okay, at this point, I'm not switching camps. But I sort of think that Becky has got a point that if you get up for a few hours in the middle of the night and you go back to sleep and have more sleep, has Becky just thrown something at you?
Yeah. She's gone. You should have heard the timbre of the stairs like come down as well, like proper booming.
You've worded it a little bit kind on your side. Let's just leave it there.
So we'll see how this plays. We'll have to...
When you say we'll see how this plays, you mean the rest of the evening, and if you'll be sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. I will update you. So another thing that we've had to do that's pregnancy related as well, and that where I had to put my foot down this week is you won't have this thing, is that we share shoes. So at night time we generally go for like a 2-mile walk just to try and keep fitness up and stuff like that. But she's wearing some of my shoes which are slightly too big for her, and twice this week she's slipped over herself in exactly the same position, and she said, well, it's because I'm wearing these shoes that are too big. I'm like, well, fucking don't wear them then. So that's a little bit different. We're having to like make sure that she's wearing sensible footwear now, because the last thing I want to do is to head falling on the floor and a baby shooting out like Play-Doh.
I don't think it works like that.
Yeah, it's only.
What's really interesting, I was reading earlier, I don't know why I'm not Googling this shit, on the NHS website in the UK, they actually say around now, Becky may wake up one day and feel as though a lot of her pregnancy symptoms have magically disappeared overnight. So
really?
So she can breathe again and she can eat loads and all of that. And apparently that is the official term is the baby has engaged. It means that she'll be able to breathe again because baby's dropped a bit and there's more room for a diaphragm to allow her lungs to breathe and shit, and she'll be able to eat more. The flip side of that though is that because baby will be engaged, she'll want to pee more because it's obviously going to be pressing on her bladder.
We have the 34-week midwife appointment this week, and I think that's when they start talking about the birthing plan and stuff like that. The last time that she had an appointment, the baby was in breech position. Nothing to be concerned about now. Baby's still got a lot of time to change position and stuff like that. So that's something that we're going to start knowing a little bit more about from next week. I'm sure Becky would be very, very interested in being able to breathe properly for 1 week or so.
Do you not find that those appointments, one, the midwives are pretty brutal? My Beck was lying on her back, and I remember, they weren't like being soft and tender and gentle. And I know that's probably, how they're supposed to be, moved around and touched and stuff, but she just seemed as though she was very rough, and feeling where baby's head was and sort of almost grasping her between a thumb and fingers. And
when we went to the hospital, it was exactly the same. She was pressing it down, and she was like, well, I can feel babies here and stuff like that. And one of the midwives has talked about a procedure where she can actually turn the baby from like outside of Becky's stomach. I'm like,
like fucking magicians, aren't they?
Wow, yeah.
Well, the thing that freaks me out is that fucking funnel that they use. So some of them use the electric machines that give you the baby's heartbeat.
Yeah.
But some of the old school ones, they don't like that, and they've got that upside down funnel that they just stick on the belly, and they just put their ear on it. Like, yep.
I've never heard of that.
You've never seen them?
No, I've not seen them yet.
Okay. Maybe not many people using them these days. But yeah, it just looks like a funnel. So we're shopping or anything, and we pass the funnels. I just see those and think to myself, if you're in a tight spot, you can just come to, a Tesco or an Asda or wherever and just buy a funnel, turn it upside down.
And then you can hear everything.
Have a little listen of what's going on, yeah.
It's quite, I might try that and if I'm not sleeping on the couch tonight. Okay, so I've got 2 questions this week. One of them is based on a conversation that we had today, actually. So, labour happens mostly at night. I was just wondering, and this is a genuine question, labour happens in the middle of the night and we have to either go to the hospital or engage in our birthing plan, and we're still going for the home birth at the minute. What would we do with the 4-year-old child that's upstairs? Like, what did you have to factor that in?
Yeah, we did. We had to factor in family being on standby. So we were quite fortunate, I suppose, that it wasn't a rushed and emergency thing like a rush. So she got up at 5 a.m.
That's the worry, because we said, well, I'll just take her to your mum's. And she was like, well, I don't want you to drive 40, 50 minutes away and to come back. Who knows what's happened? So
your midwives are going to have to travel with you anyway, or travel to you. It may just be that you call the midwives, you get them out, and they sit with Becky while you go and arrange some form of childcare. We sort of knew from 5 a.m. that things were starting off. So at that point, we started to plan. I spoke to my parents. Then it was just all focus on Beck and giving birth. So we then went up to the hospital. So my parents were sort of on standby. That was really useful for us. Not everyone's fortunate enough to have that support network in place. So there's going to be people out there that are going to find this tricky. I suppose your birthing partner, whoever that is, maybe just that is their role. Nothing's ever going to be a perfect situation.
Yeah, I guess just having some backup plans in place and maybe telling to your parents, turn your phone on tonight, or just be on standby for the next week or so, because you may get a phone call at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I guess it's just about planning, isn't it?
But genuinely, my best advice, I can't believe we're only giving advice at this point. Walk through every eventuality in every stage and have a plan for that. Like if Flossie's, with a dad, you've got that plan sorted. If Flossie's with you, but it's middle of the night. If Flossie's with you, but she's at school, who's going to pick her up? If Flossie's with you, but it's, tea time. Plan through every different scenario. And that's almost like the Boy Scout type of thought process. But at least if you've got a plan, you know what's going to happen. That's the best situation you could be in when that time comes and you're put on the spot. If you've got a plan for it, great, you know what to do. There's no panic. And that's not what you need in those emergency situations. You don't need to be panicking, stressing about what do I do with this. Think through every eventuality and have a plan for each one. So It's just as simple as, right, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to go and contact my mum and get her to come over here. Or I need to contact my mum. She doesn't need to do anything. She just needs to pick Flossie up from school.
That's actually really, really, really good advice. I never thought about it like that. Like just trying to plan each and every little thing. Actually, that's really good.
I did a thing.
You did a thing, yeah. You helped. It's only took 12 weeks. No, actually, to be honest, you did too well of a thing because my final gambit this week was just going to say that we are now on the home straight. Becky's full term very, very soon. So I was going to ask, what 3 pieces of advice could you give me at this point?
Be patient and let nature take its course. That would be a big thing. This is completely out of everyone's control. Becky's body will react in a way that you can't plan or predict. I got frustrated with waiting, and it's very easy to get frustrated. It's like waiting for Christmas morning, but you don't know when Christmas morning is going to be.
I was just going to say, is the waiting was the frustration because you've done everything, you planned everything, and the next logical step was for the baby to be here?
Exactly that. It's hard to sort of put it into words really, but just be patient, and you can't predict, baby's birthday.
Yeah.
Roll with it. Just be patient. Be prepared. Obviously, that links to advice number 1, really. Not just with Flossie, but plan everything else out as well. That would be the extension of tip number 1. And tip number 3 is whatever you do with baby is not wrong, if that makes sense. Like, nobody knows everything about parenting. There's all these books out there, and I genuinely thought everyone knew how to parent because my parents had raised me, and everybody else who has a kid knows how to parent. It's a journey. You learn a lot of shit as you go along. Like, you learn when you've put a nappy on backwards, when you actually have put a nappy on backwards.
You learn the hard way.
Yeah. You make mistakes, but hopefully you only make those mistakes once. You learn the smell of a shitty nappy. So you know that when you approach a cot and you can smell that smell, that you go, I just need to go and get something out of my car. I think she needs changing. Okay, that nearly killed you off. But you learn shit like that as you go along. You learn the taste of baby food, and you learn why kids love it so much. One thing I've never learned is what the fuck in the night garden's all about.
The night garden?
So again, you learn all of the really good TV channels. CBeebies was a really good one for Georgia. Other TV channels are available. The last program that's on before bedtime is something called In the Night Garden. It's trippy as fuck. Like, everyone can only say their own name. So, like, imagine this podcast if I could just talk to you and have a conversation, and you understood what the fuck I was going on about, but I was going, Daniel. And your response was, Matt. That's probably what Becky hears when you're trying to argue with her.
At the minute, yeah.
You're just going, Matt.
No, she's probably thinking, no bed.
But yeah, In the Night Garden is one of the weird programs, but they've all got weird names. Like, the main character's called Iggle Piggle. And
all right, okay.
But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like that. There's kids programs out there that are designed for younger children. You learn all of those, and you learn that Peppa Pig is actually a shithouse. She's a very bossy little bitch.
I think I know this already. Do you know what? So yeah, I noticed on Peppa Pig, but I tell you who I really, really dislike out of all the children programs that I've seen so far, Peter Rabbit. Like, he's just come off as just a bit of a prick. Do you not think?
To be fair, I think he's all right. He's just cocky.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe because it's James Corden as well in the films. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah,
maybe. I dislike James Corden, but he just comes off as cocky, doesn't he, sometimes?
The one, I forget what it's called now. It's like, Here Comes Simon or something like that. Or
there's a French thing. Simon, the little bunny rabbit thing.
Yeah, is that French?
I think so, yeah.
It's called Simon.
I think it's originally French and it's been dubbed into English.
To be fair, now that you're saying that, that does make so much more sense because his little brother's called Gaspard.
Exactly.
Which is a traditional French name. Okay. Oh, well, I've learned something. I thought it was just... So, yeah, his little brother was very soft, but Simon, or Simon, was an arsehole with him. I don't know if there's anything to be learned from that.
Just that sometimes...
Little brothers are arseholes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure my brother would testify to. I'm sure he would.
So yeah, there's all sorts of programs that as you're growing up, you watch it and you just think, fucking, what is this shite? And then at that point, when you actually have that thought, you genuinely sit down and think, fuck, yeah. I have turned into my dad.
When I was watching Super Ted and Banana Man back in the day.
Super Ted was ace.
Super Ted was the shit.
Super Ted's ace, man.
I might have to go watch a little episode now.
So I did this a few years ago with Georgia, where I started showing her some of the TV shows that I used to watch as a kid. Do you remember Trapdoor?
No, I don't remember Trapdoor.
Do you not? No, Trapdoor was ace. They lived in a castle. It was a bit like Count Duckula, but there was these like a skull and a pair of eyes and loads of creepy creatures that were made out of clay that moved. So it was like a stop motion type thing. There was just this voice that used to shout and bellow and order them around. And it was ace. I just remember.
I'm trying to think if that makes more sense, but I can't think of it. Maybe
so
if
the famous phrase that voice used to make was, "Buck, feed me." No? Okay.
No.
I've just made an absolute tit of myself. I don't need to wear a melon. I've made an absolute tit of myself right now.
Oh God, I forgot about the melon. I'm gonna have to write that down.
Becky is definitely gonna screw you over with a day going out, Lords.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to a challenge for you. Maybe we could do a live sterilization or something like that.
Fucking no way. No.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, we've rambled on enough.
We have rambled on enough. Well, as always, it has been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, everyone.